Welcome to the Billy Wilder Theater, home of the public programs for the UCLA Film and Television Archive. I'm Mark Quigley, the John H. Mitchell Television Curator for UCLA. Thank you for joining us for our on-the-air marathon in tribute to beloved, greatly missed maestro David Lynch. Before we begin, some quick acknowledgments. Archive screenings in the Wilder are free, thanks to a gift from an anonymous donor, and tonight's screening is underwritten by the John H. Mitchell Television Programming Endowment. Special thanks to the Archive's Jennifer Rhee, Marissa Soto, Lauren Brown, Nicole Yucito, and Maya Montañez-Smuckler, and our partners in the Hammer Museum. And an extra special shout out to Graham Marshall of the Paramount Studio Archive for making tonight possible. Thank you, Graham. We have two very special guests in the house tonight. The stars of On the Air, the great Nancye Ferguson and Ian Buchanan. Give it up. At the end of the eve, Nancye and Ian will take the stage for conversation. Thank you so much, Nancye and Ian, for being here. Let's get metaphysical for a second. On the Air, an ABC TV network sitcom from 1992, or something else entirely. No laugh track, no studio audience, no catchphrases. You are about to enter the absurdist comedic alcove of the Red Room. The superb series pilot we are about to watch, directed by David Lynch, is your portal. We will run the first 4 episodes of On the Air, then a very brief intermission, then the next 3 episodes. In the interest of time, you're only going to see the series title sequence twice tonight. Tonight is a marathon, yet all 7 episodes run shorter than The Brutalist. Stick around and you'll be rewarded because the surreal final episode of the series is unlike any 25 minutes of TV that you've ever seen before. You don't simply watch works by David Lynch, you live in them, and afterwards, forever they live in you. A singular, once-in-a-generation artist, David Lynch created immersive worlds that unlocked a hidden chasm between wakefulness and dreams. See you on the other side. It's time for the live 8th episode of the Lester Guy Show. Please welcome to the stage Nancye Ferguson and Ian Buchanan. I'm still crying a little bit from that. Was so fun. It was so funny. Wow. Reboot? Time for...
I know.
Reboot? Yeah, why not?
First and foremost, what was it like to work with David Lynch on this? We'll start with you, Nancye.
Oh, boy. Well, David is just pure joy, and we had the best time. We had so much fun. He is just someone that inspires everyone to do their best. So every single person that he works with, every bit of the crew is just elevated, and we all sort of created one big happy family that just had the best time.
Yeah. Well, I'd worked with David previously on Twin Peaks, and I also did another project with him before Twin Peaks, so I kind of knew David, but he was wonderful. I mean, he's very unique and just very gracious and very generous and very, encouraging on everything. So, I mean, I would never have done anything like this unless he'd kind of just drawn it out of me. So, but he was exceptional person, wonderful person. I think, wasn't our first read for the pilot? Didn't he not come to the table read, but there was a speakerphone in the middle, so it was just his voice? Wasn't that? And
well, I know that was I don't know if it was the first one, but
the
all
the
the
first of
other
the
ones.
episode,
The first
yes.
one he was there, and
yes,
then all
was.
the other
all
ones.
Others,
right.
Yes, he was just a voice in the middle of the table.
I know Ian and I were talking about how it was so long ago that we have to remind each other of what happened.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that so the first one he was there, but all the others was the speaker in the middle of a table.
And so that pilot obviously had a bigger budget and more time to make. What was that process like?
Well, that was just David doing a short comedy film. So, yeah, that was the one that we got to really spend time making. And I think it was probably at least double the amount of time. I think we had 4 days to do the other episodes, and that one was about 7 or 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we do really those in 4 days? Really,
We
all
did.
that?
We
Yeah,
did for
really?
very long days.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
You must have had a very busy AD putting all those different pieces together.
I don't remember. I think we did most of it there, the takes. I don't remember after.
Well, I know
Assistant
I just
director.
mean all the components.
Oh, yeah. I did. Yeah. I don't.
It seems like a lot of setups for every episode.
It was pretty seamless. Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it was.
It looks more.
so-
It looks very good. Watching it, I'm thinking, how on earth did we do that? But
I know. I mean, oddly, I think it's also sort of the kind of magic of the world that David creates when you work. So, like, everyone is working at such a high state that, like, Ian and I are like difficult. No, because it's seamless. Like, everything just works, and everybody just. Even though there were that many setups, like I was like thinking of a lot of funny things that happened watching this, but it just somehow it's sort of magical perfection, and
Right.
it just works. But we did have long hours. I was like, remember some of the episodes where we were just laughing so hard we had to keep doing takes because it was
Right.
so late into the night, and it's funny. So
Yeah, and the gags are all so perfectly timed and so complex, and they just come one right after another. I mean, it's just rapid
Yeah.
fire.
yeah.
So what was the network thinking at the beginning of this?
I wish Mark was here to answer that, because he kind of was a part of all of that. We were not really, although I was a little bit, because Twin Peaks was still airing, I think, when we did the pilot. And I think there were complications with the network, but then those complications were written into On the Air, which was also with the same network. So it was kind of interesting. And network were not allowed on the set. You remember we had a
nobody was
nobody was
allowed.
allowed on the set except Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney. Who else? They were like,
Sissy
Sissy
Spacek
Spacek,
came
because
with Jack, yeah.
Jack directed. Nobody else was allowed on the set. It was a closed set, and the network weren't allowed on the set, and they didn't get to read scripts. But as you know, network executive seats with sitting ducks in them, I think was kind of like.
I do remember, because of my role, I was probably the most closely related in real life to the script supervisor. So David sort of allowed me, because he only called me Ruthie, so he allowed me to sort of be part of the talking of everything, just like as if I was, in both. I was just included so all the time. And I do remember him really being upset, because even though Twin Peaks was still on the air, he was very upset with the fact they started like changing the times, and that, back in the day, probably most of you weren't alive then, but it was really, it made a big difference what night you were on and the consistency. And so he was already getting very upset the way they were being treated, and he was like, everybody is such, it's such a good group of people, and how can they be doing this? He was, very tortured over the way the network was treating him. And I think that if it was done today, people really know how to take care of directors of that caliber in shows and cable. So, but the network at the time, they didn't really, they were cool enough to have David do a show and partner him up with Mark Frost, but they weren't quite able to just give him full permission to be all that he is.
And there was no point of reference for a show like this.
There still isn't. I mean, I was just looking at, I was like looking at that last Beaten It episode and just.
I love that. I'd forgotten how much fun that
Right,
was.
how much fun.
How much fun that
and
was.
you know, you could just imagine David writing that, right? You know, like.
Shoe business.
Yeah.
Just like, there's no business like shoe business.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a really close relative of Twin Peaks, the whole series, but especially that episode. It just feels like it's splintered off of an episode of Twin Peaks and spinned out. And so the network didn't air that one, and they only aired 3 of the episodes.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, they only. They only aired 3, and they put the show on 9:30 on a Saturday night, and the third one was 4th of July. So. They obviously, and David flew us all to New York. He was...
Well, the network would not include us in the upfronts, which is where they take, shows they believe in and take the cast to New York and, I think Radio City Music Hall. You kind of do like promotion and upfronts, and they wouldn't take on the air. So David chartered MGM, was that the plane? The MGM, that plane, and flew us all there and screened it at Museum of. You remember these things? I don't remember these things.
I think it was, I can't remember.
Television Museum? Or
yeah,
something?
right, in New York.
Yeah, in New
York.
But
all I remember from that was there we are, the whole cast on the stage, like this, except for the whole cast. And David was in Paris at the time, I believe.
Right, he didn't even show.
So behind us, but behind us.
No, he was live. He came live.
He was live,
but upside down.
Right. No, what he did was he had his tie being stationary, and his head was moving around.
Right. Which was kind of how we all felt at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he was just like going, look, this is a show, and trying to have people see it. And, he was like, we all believed in it. I remember I think I told you, Mark, that the very first shot that Marla and I, so the pilot, the very first scene you saw in the first episode was the very first thing that was shot. And there was, at the time, David's agent, was Tony Krantz from CAA, and that was the only person that was there that was allowed in. And it was the first scene, and David's like, because he believes so much in the show, we all did, and he was like, what happened to Cheers, right? Meaning we were just going to go on forever. So I'm like, we're in, yes. And me being Ruth Tooworthy, I'm like, yes, we're going to be going on for 7 years, 8 years, so.
I totally want to imagine season 4, episode 5 of this series. Just where did it go? The most burning question I have, though, is, Ian, who did your choreography for that?
That's a very interesting question. There was a choreographer at one point, and then the choreographer never reappeared. I think for the pilot there was a choreographer, and then I think for the first episode they were like, well, you remember it. And I was like, no, I don't really, but then I went to Paris to promote on the air, and they recreated the lamp thing, and they were like, well, s'il vous plaît, dansez. I was like, seriously? I can't really do that. So I was doing the whole like, and the same in Tokyo. They were like, I was like, what the? This is like a nightmare. I did like, there was a choreographer at one point, but then the rest of it, I kind of made up.
So I guess this is off the table for tonight, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't lift.
I do have to say that Ian was such a good sport. That scene, oh my God, in that scene in the pilot where he's upside down, which I think you said only David could have got you to do that. But swinging upside down, and when you're shooting take after take after take, it's like it was not easy for him. No,
it was not.
I don't. We were like concerned about like, are you going to be okay?
Right.
Yeah.
I was. Well, I actually, we had read the script and done the table thing, and of course I had, all the stuff I'd done before. There was always like a stunt person, so I kind of assumed I'm reading it and going like stunt person. I'll do like the voice, and they'll maybe do like close up. I'll be, turn upside down for a minute and close up, and blah blah blah. And the morning of that shooting, I was in. We didn't exactly have huge luxurious trailers. We had like tiny little cubicles, and there was a knock on the door, and I opened the door, and there was the AD and and David. And David said, "Hey, Lester, how are you?" I said, "I'm good. How are you?" I'm very excited. He goes, "Oh, good. Now I'm here with a couple of folks, and we're here because we're going to try on your harness." I said, "A harness? For what?" He goes, "Well, because you're going to be upside down, Lester." I was like, "I'm going to be upside down?" Not. He goes, "Yes, you are, and it's going to just be peachy. Yes. 3 days.
And he called you Lester, and he called you
Yeah.
Ruth. So
No, he always called me Lester. But
Yeah.
actually, when I did Twin Peaks, my name was Dick. And I'd been on a show called General Hospital, and my name was Duke. And lovely Blondie, who was a big fan of General Hospital, she came to the David Lynch Foundation thing downtown. It was actually the last time I actually spent time with David. And she came in and she looked at me, and I was standing with David, and she said, "Duke." And David said, "It's Dick." And she said, "No, it's Doug." And David said, "No, it's Dick." Which, delightful.
Yes. So yeah, I was always called Ruthie.
Yeah.
you guys were in character.
Yeah.
This anecdote reminds me of, I have to ask, like, how did David Lander learn his dialogue?
Oh, he was so good with that, but he
Yeah.
was very particular. And whoever played his uncle was not as particular, and David would get really kind of like, "No,
Yeah.
you have to," like it was. Yeah, he was.
It was
so
just,
good.
it was all like a reversal of vowels, and
Yeah.
But no, David Lander was impeccable with what he was given with that. So
Yep.
And you were the only one that could speak that language.
it seemed like I was the only one to
Translate
interpret
many-
it, yeah,
everything.
and explain everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Your character being kind of the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah, Mary Sweeney used to say, and because she edited the pilot, she used to tell me that I was the linchpin.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And in preparation for this event and talking to you and corresponding with you, you are so much like that, your character.
Yeah, I think David is really good at that. Where, I did audition for Joanna Ray, but David only brings people in and talks to them. So, he asked me about the character, and and I think that the essence of who I am. But I think what he told all of us is that we all enlightened him on the roles. So I think he gets the essence of people that are very close to what's going on, and then. None of us got directed other than fully encouraged to be everything that we were in the characters, except for Marla, Betty. We used to always laugh because it would be cut, Betty, and then he'd pull her aside and direct her because he really, to get that innocence, right? He really was always whispering things in her ears to sort of let her strip down any sort of ideas that she might have had. So. Right. So, uh-oh.
There's a real purity there that is so sweet with the character, very Lynchian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And David really, so he really worked with Marla and had to keep her sort of on track with that. But with us, it was, in fact, I was there's so many things I was like remembering. that more pots and pans scene. So when Shorty and I were like going back and forth, I don't know, it's like David just loved us doing that and just like kept the cameras running, and we were improvising doing that for so long. It was like a total Lynch moment. But yeah, there was a lot of fun like that.
And everyone on the show is so great and so realized, no matter how much screen time they have, everybody has a very distinct character. Miguel Ferrer called the show I Love Lucy on Acid. Can you talk a little bit about the other folks on the show?
Sure. Well, what about that performance by Miguel, huh? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, Miguel is one of those actors, he just, like, comes in, and he's, like, looking at his, scene before, and then he just rattles off that dialogue like it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Right? And he used to say, I used to say, Miguel, you're just so great, you're so good. He goes, I just say the words. He was so humble, and yeah. Let me see, who else could we talk about? Well, it's so funny. It's for Ian and I, we're like going, so many are no longer with us, so that's like very sad. A lot of people went too young, but David Lander, obviously. I mean, for me, I worked a lot with him, so we would have so much fun in creating some backstory and
And Kim.
Yeah,
who I loved. She was great.
Yeah, and you got to do a lot with
Yeah,
Kim.
I got to do a lot with Kim. Yeah, she was great fun. Shorty was lovely. He was great. And Marvin.
Yeah,
Wonderful too.
Yeah,
Marvin
incredible.
Kaplan, like from movies from the 40s. 50s.
I remember having the reason why I know how late we went was you have all these regulations with the unions and all that, and so I remember one night we were going really late, and they brought Marvin and I in, and were going to ask us to not do our 12-hour turnaround. 12-hour turnaround, and Marvin was like, I'm president of AFTRA, right? And I'm like, I guess that ends this dialogue. And so we didn't do that. But, we as actors, if asked, of course, you kind of, you don't want to ever say no to a David Lynch project. But Marvin, kept us getting proper night's sleep.
It seems almost impossible on a show like that. But, I want to imagine that the wrap party for the show was something like the last episode.
I'm not sure. Did we have a rap party?
I know. It's so, that is an interesting question.
Was that at
where was
Punana Souk or something? Was that the rap
Look,
party?
we can't even really remember it. I think it was...
so many rap parties.
Right, because there was different things. I mean, I really remember David bringing us to AFI for the pilot. That was really fun. And so there was that kind of celebration. But I think at the end, it was a little mellow because of all the... we went through long periods of time, not knowing what was going on and things, but we did have it somewhere. We can't remember.
Punana Souk, I think.
Is that where? Okay, yeah. Ian's got a better memory of that.
Well, only because it's close to where I live now, so I walk past it and I kind of go I think I did, what happened here? And then I go, that was like a Lynch rap party.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have both had amazing careers, but where does this fit on your continuum? I mean, how do you put this into your filmography?
Well, I like the idea that that you actually talked to David while he was still alive, and then created this whole experience, which we're sorry that he's not here tonight, but to have the episodes shown and here at the Hammer, because he is an artist and it makes all the most sense in the world to be at the Hammer. So I'm thrilled to be showing on the air in a museum, and it feels full circle to me with that.
Yeah.
And all of you, sharing with all of you.
It's where it belongs, for sure. And the network didn't deserve it, And by that I mean it was too good for them.
Well, David also had a third go-round with the network with Mulholland Drive, which he made as a pilot, which the same network turned down. And then he, with Canal Plus, for the first time ever, bought the pilot back from the network and turned it into a movie, a very successful movie. So he kind of got beaten around by the mouse.
The confines of the 4x3 box of the day seemed too small for David Lynch, but this is such a great love letter to the golden age of television. And I think even the shots of the the audience watching it, the reception shows a lot of love for, the people and that are out there in TV land that have a connection to the people that they're watching. And there's just something sweet and utterly charming amidst the slapstick and the humor. There's a real heart to this show.
Yeah.
Well, and it was so fun being with a live audience and hearing all the laughter because, you don't think of, when you think of David's work, you don't really think of people laughing out loud as we experienced tonight. So that, and I think it is truly a David Lynch comedy. So that's pretty fun to have that side of him.
Yeah. I think, absurd is kind of a good word, but also with heart and soul, though. I mean, it just is very important. He certainly, that's what he brought, I think, to everything he did. So,
yeah, it's surrealism with the heart.
Yeah.
It's interesting because TV isn't meant to be shown on a big screen, and when we put these kind of programs together, you never know how something is going to play with an audience. Because at home, when you're watching TV, obviously these episodes would have been spread out over weeks if they had aired them all in the U.S. And watching TV at home is a little more intimate because you get up, you do other things. So this played amazingly well in the theater and kind of beyond expectations for everyone's reactions. We don't have the opportunity very often to give people 1 degree of separation from David Lynch. So I want to make sure that we take 1 or 2 questions at least from the audience. So it's very hard to see from up here. Yeah. But I know we have mics out there. And if someone has a question about On the Air, this is your chance. And we'll bring the mic to you. Okay, great. Mic should be on the way. Wait for it.
Hello. Just a quick question. I know that it's the network, but where was this filmed? And was this filmed on any current digital cameras, or was this all on celluloid film?
It was film. And where? The first pilot was the studio on it's Studio City. What's it called now?
No, the pilot was on Van Nuys.
No, that was the series. See, this
no,
is
the series was MTM, was CBS Radford.
Oh, okay, so it was reverse. Okay, so the pilot was in Van Nuys and then the series at Radford.
Yeah.
That's true because Ian is correct because we were doing On the Air while they, while Seinfeld was and
next
they were
door.
all because
Evening Shade, Roseanne.
Right, but nobody could come to our
set.
Our set. So and Seinfeld was all you're doing the cool show, So.
Yeah. Well, also Miguel said to me can you come outside and speak to my cousin? He's crazy about show business, but nobody's allowed on the set, and he'd love to say hello. And I was like, sure. So I went out, and it was his cousin George, who was George Clooney, who was on Roseanne, I guess. Was he on Roseanne? He was on Roseanne.
I missed the George Clooney meeting.
Well, yeah, it would be different today, but then it was like my cousin who's fascinated with show business wants to meet David Lynch and wants to say hello, and he can't get on the set. And I was like, but hang on a second, your mom was on the set. Shh. Because his mother, Rosemary, was on the set.
That
the day
I remembered,
before.
yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Funny.
I did see George Clooney much later, and I mentioned how I did the series with Miguel and how he came to the set once, and it had been 12 years. He goes, well, don't wait 12 years to see me again. He was very, but he did remember going. So,
anybody else out there? We got another one?
Did we answer your question? Okay. There's hands.
Yeah. Wait for the mic.
What was it like working with Jack Fisk, if you remember?
Oh yeah,
from
yeah,
that
I remember.
last
It was great. He
episode.
was wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah, he'd worked with David, I think, on what did he do with it? Was he?
He was his production designer, right?
Production designer or cinema?
Yeah,
or
art director.
Art director.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
other projects. Yeah.
And I don't know if he's.
Ja-
Does he have any other directing credits?
Yes,
I think-
you know, he did direct Sissy, his wife.
right.
Right. So, but I don't know if he had done that yet when he did On the Air, but I know, you know, she was a big fan of the show, so she came. But he was lovely. We had so much fun with him. And he had some of the more adventurous episodes, too, right? He did the Beatnik episode, I think.
he
right?
did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so obviously.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things.
Well, I mean,
ever, so.
yeah. When are you going to ever see something like that on TV? I mean, that's like.
I also like the Betty's. What's her sister's name?
Sylvia.
Sylvia playing Betty Davis, and
Oh, I know.
and the puppet.
Well,
was
the
like,
Mr.
I'd forgotten that was
the-
all
the
like.
Mr.
Well,
Pe-
no, the Mr.
The
Peanuts.
Mr.
That
Peanuts
song,
episode, yeah.
That song we were singing, Mr. Penis.
I know.
We were all singing,
We
"Mr.
were so
Peanut,
exhausted. That was one of the
he
ones we
will
just
put a
could
smile
not
on
stop.
your-
Like,
turn it upside down, Mr. Penis.
I know.
Like, yeah.
Hey, nuts! I know. No, we you know, and I guess we had a choreographer for that, but I don't remember who they were. It's so funny. I mean,
Yeah, I guess there must
I
have been.
think
don't know.
Ian was on his own at a certain point, but for the
Yeah.
opening,
Yeah.
but
The
we.
joy of that, the whole scene though, is just incredible. I mean, it just
Yeah.
it resonates with so much energy.
Yeah, that was a really fun one.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I saw David, it was at one of his TM Foundation things, and you know, and he was like, you know, gosh, we really had a lot of fun doing that, didn't we? I mean, you know, it was just pure joy. It really was.
Yeah.
It's evident. And we're talking about directors, Betty Thomas.
Yes.
Betty Thomas, Leslie Linka Gladder.
Yeah, so Betty Thomas was great because she would have nicknames for everyone, but she would come with a pin about this big that she would wear, and it just said, "Just relax, it's only TV." So she was really sweet. And Leslie's gone on to do so much.
Yeah.
So Leslie directed us twice,
Yeah.
and then Jonathan Sanger, who was the producer of The Elephant Man.
Well, also the guest star who played Stan Tailings was
Yes.
in The Elephant Man.
Right.
Yeah.
And David had brought him there,
Yeah,
right? From
yeah.
yeah, so there was all these connections. You know, I always say to people, you know, once you're part of the Lynch family, you're family with every single person that's ever worked with him or been with him. And he's just an extraordinary human being. I say present time because he's still with us, right? He lives on. But I had asked, I don't know, I talked to Harry Dean Stanton about working with David, and he said, you know, he's worked with so many great directors, including Hitchcock, and he said David was his favorite, and he was definitely the most special of anyone. So
That is not hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's.
yeah, yay, David.
It is late, but let's take one last question. And I'm sorry that I can't see you from here. It's very blinding, but I'll ask the folks with the mic to please grab a person that's got their hand up.
Hey, great work. I was going to say, what were your guys' initial reaction to the show getting pulled? I would say that it was the first 3 episodes were shown, and then the last 2 or the last 3 weren't shown. I guess, what did you guys? How do you guys feel?
I think we kind of knew, but I think we were sort of delusional because we were so happy and so excited about the whole thing. We kind of didn't believe that nobody would be as happy with it as we were.
Well,
But Miguel, who was very realistic, he said, "You're not supposed to be this happy at work." This is
yeah. Well, you know, and me, yeah. being Ruth Trueworthy, there was, I was all in for Cheers. So it was devastating. We really believed that.
Had a life.
Yeah, and also, it was like what happened on the pilot. We were like, you have a hit on your hands. We were like, there was no question about it. So, and Ian says delusional. I guess we were, but it was just because we believed in it so much and, could see that in the world. So
It was too far ahead of its time for its time, but as we've talked about, it probably would find an audience today.
Yeah.
Or let's just go back and say the audiences that you had even then, any streamer would die for now. I mean, those were great numbers. The network numbers in the 3-network era were,
right.
for a show that was even low rated, would be very high for a streamer. But I think obviously how this played tonight in front of this audience, you can see that these are timeless, especially since it's a period piece. It kind of exists in its own time and space. Yeah. And certainly would have an audience if it was premiered in 2025, I think. Mm-hmm. Any closing thoughts about this experience for you, Lester?
Thank you very much for putting this together and for having us get to enjoy it. I mean, I haven't seen it for a long, long time. But I still swear there were 9 episodes. And
I know. Ian was like going there. Didn't we do 9? I go, no, it was only 7.
I think I did 2 in my sleep, or 2 in my dreams, or maybe I thought there were 2 more, or maybe they talked about 2 more. But I still believe there are 2 missing episodes. I do. And maybe we'll do them. Maybe we can
I'm really looking forward to dreaming those 2.
Yeah.
You just gave just named an archivist dream. Find the 2 missing episodes.
I was sure there were 9. I was totally sure there were 9. Why? Maybe I'll get paid for 9. Sorry.
Well, actually, Ian, you and I did have the same agent at the time, and I'm sure you got paid more because...
No, but actually, just to kind of wind up a classic Hollywood story, we had the same agent, and we were out for lunch, and the agent was in the same restaurant, and would speak to her everything, and she had got the word the series had not been picked up, and she didn't speak to us. We were waving, saying, hey, Hilda, Hilda. She didn't speak to us, and we both got dropped the end of that day. Yeah. There you are. Shoe business, folks.
But we're forever friends and family. But yeah, I'm going to echo Ian and just thank you so much, Mark, and thank you all for coming too, because I think that, your dedication and your love for the show and bringing it here and into the world and having people come and share this has really been delightful. And thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I think we're all pinching ourselves that you guys are here and that we have Ruth Trueworthy and Lester Guy in person. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.